I'm still having to use my phone camera to record because it's what I have at my disposal currently. But it works. It works. So capos are fun things, right? That's not what this video is at all about. I just wanted to kind of do this at the beginning just for the sake of it. So, a while back, I was rooming with a buddy, and he had this porch that overlooked kind of sort of city type area, and I'd like to sit there in the evenings. And this was a number of years ago, and this riff I really need to develop into the thing I've been trying to develop it into. But it's a good riff, and I wanted to go ahead and share it in case it never develops into anything. It is mine. I guess I'm okay with people using it, just, I don't know, if you use it, this is gonna make me sound so smug, but just give me some credit. I don't know, it is what it is. Here we go. I just like it. Pretty much it. The main idea is kind of I guess a pentatonic thing. But I like that chord progression that it goes into. I'm still learning music theory, but here's why I wanted to, one of the reasons I wanted to put this out there. I feel that it's good to use notes and the abstraction of notes and music to paint scenes or ideas. And yeah, I mean, that's what most, or at least a lot of musicians that I'm aware of do, although of course some people are more along the technical vein of, hey, this sounds good because it's an A sus minor with a blah blah blah. But as I was saying, I was sitting on a porch and I was just remembering this time where I was with a friend and we were having coffee in her kitchen, and she had this big window, and it was kind of raining and storming outside, and we had a door open and a little bit of, you know, rainy kind of leaves were coming in, and one of them landed on her shoulder, and it kind of went, and then just a pitter patter of the drops on the window, and then the peal of lightning and thunder. It all produces this kind of dreamlike quality. Just that kind of like paragraph style ideation, since I'm a writer, is in my head, and I translated that into something musical via some kind of subconscious process that came to me because I've been practicing pentatonic patterns and also playing a lot of stuff with the capo because I'm really into Nick Drake, and a lot of his music is capo style. And I just felt like sharing that ideation because I think it's nice. And it's been years now that I've been wanting to put it out there, but there's so many other projects I'm working on that maybe this is the best go I'm going to have at it. But maybe at one point it will be a song. Anyway, what this whole video is actually supposed to be about is, it was a good reading here. So I reread Consilience by Edward O. Wilson in 2017. I'm almost done rereading Deep Water by Jacques Leslie. And, of course, State of Fear. Damn, why didn't I write that? And Sphere, I've definitely wholly reread this year and taken notes on. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. Oh, before I go. Book reviews are something I'm going to be doing because I think that they're fun. And the more I talk about books, the more it'll encourage people to read them. Even if they disagree with what I'm saying about them, that'll encourage them to go back in and, hey, that's not right. You know, and they'll start reading, and we'll progress that whole reading culture they think is worth progressing. All right. So I think it's pretty great how things eventually just come to line up. So I was rereading Michael Crichton's Sphere at the beginning of 2017 because I thought it was a fitting exercise as a writer to read books that have impacted me read them over again with attention and take notes on them, which I did as I was going through it around March of 2017 or so. And there, of course, is Michael Crichton up there above my desktop, serving as inspiration. Also, check out the fact that it's so grunge rock, that little back of the book that I tore out. It's just a good little, I don't know, tool. Anyway, what this is all about is actually, once again, Joe Rogan's podcast where he talked about flotation stuff. So here you can see float therapy being mentioned on this site. And how I came across this particular site is because as I was thinking of Sphere in the context of Joe Rogan always talking about flotation tanks, I thought, maybe Michael Crichton had an experience in a flotation tank. So I Googled, Michael Crichton, was Michael Crichton? Oh my goodness, there we go. Was Michael Crichton's Sphere based on float tank? And, of course, a lot of different things came up. Only one of them really had something directly to do with a float tank, which was this, Just Float, which appears to be a company that does the sensory deprivation flotation tanks. And its beginning paragraph reads something like, Joe Rogan and Pat Healy, both 2015 Super Bowl teams and Olympians, Wayne Rooney, Carl Lewis, Tom Brady, Elle Macpherson, Peter Gabriel, Michael Crichton, Susan Sarandon, what do they all have in common? Floating, either in their own tanks or in float centers throughout the world. These athletes and artists have found pain relief, relaxation, creativity, and clarity in a float tank. So, the reason I find that probably to be correct, that Michael Crichton did float in one of these tanks, even though this is obviously an ad, who's going to try to list as many celebrities as possible. But if anybody is familiar with his autobiographical work, Travels, in it, he does have a history of going to all these spiritualists, and I think he read Ram Dass, and was just generally into traveling and experimenting with various ideas. So it would not surprise me at all that he would have been in a flotation device, and then later on written Sphere as a result, or Sphere may have been an idea that he had, and then he found a way to make it palatable with the flotation device kind of psychedelic spiritualist experience thing that would go on in that book, if you care to read it, which you should, because it is, in fact, excellent. I'm going to flip this camera around so that we can have more of a natural feel to this. So yeah, that's interesting to me, because it just comes sort of full circle. Interests, when they converge. This book, Sphere, as I said, I reread. And then I happened to stumble across Joe Rogan stuff, and he starts talking about flotation devices. And I put two and two together, and lo and behold, Michael Crichton was in one of these flotation tanks. Now, it's not anything supernatural or what have you. I mean, this is probably stuff that was around California and the area where Michael Crichton would have operated, and so these kinds of ideas would be part of the milieu. But when your personal life, as in this case mine, all kind of converges around an interest, and you have these realizations based on just one thing that you appreciate over the course of time, it's really neat. And that's one reason I want to stress, reading and finding books that you really enjoy and sticking with them and analyzing them over and over again. Because even with something simple like Michael Crichton's Sphere, which I think is an excellent work of art, but a lot of people, because it's a paperback and it's a thriller, and Michael Crichton put them out in kind of a serial fashion, these sorts of books, might consider it kind of a dime store, Pulp Fiction type deal. But first of all, Just personally, I don't think it is. And also, even if it was, a well-crafted pulp fiction novel can still have a lot to teach you, especially if it impacted your imagination in a dramatic way and led to a series of realizations in your youth which you can then mull over on the veracity of as you age, and then discover coincidental little convergences, like the fact that another person who you respect and who's brought interesting things to your attention is also to the same thing, without these two people really probably necessarily knowing of each other or very much about each other's work. That's just some food for thought. Thanks for listening, and have a great time wherever time finds you. I have a website called The Fractal Journal, which you can find at fractaljournal.com, where I write about various topics. I also do some music, which you can find and link to on my other YouTube channel through the Fractal Journal website. Cheers, folks.